loud as you possibly can. And it was called...
I wasn't there yet.
Yellow. I love you all. Thank you.
Saturday.
Get ready for a classic, literally.
It's time to get dancing around your living room because guess what? It's back. Brand new series of Stars in Their Eyes kids. Nightcat, Game Speed.
Everywhere I go, the kids wanna rock. Nightcap, we're gonna be.
Who could they be?
Everywhere I go, the kids wanna rock.
Cat Dealey hosts Stars in Their Eyes kids Saturday at 7.
Go, the kids wanna rock.
We buy the big bags. See, with those small ones, you can't share them. So if you do buy those small bags, it's like you don't want us popping in.
Having trouble splitting up with your old car? Then place an ad with free photo in your local auto trader and online.
New Cadbury Dairy Milk with biscuit, the perfect combination.
Good evening, this is ITV1. Your regional news is coming up in 10 minutes, but first we join John Suchet for the ITV News Headlines.
On the road to Baghdad, just 20 miles from the capital. Saving Private Lynch, how US forces rescued Jessica. And warning over killer bug, it could be worse than HIV.
ITV News with John Suchet.
Good evening. Coalition forces in Iraq closed in on Baghdad today with some forward reconnaissance units now only 20 miles from the capital. The Pentagon said 2 divisions of Saddam Hussein's Republican Guard had taken such a hammering that they were no longer credible forces. Iraqi troops have also been forced back by heavy bombing in northern Iraq, and the bombing in and around the capital has continued with more civilian casualties reported. The advance on Baghdad today hinged on 2 key battles. In the west, the American 3rd Infantry Division fought its way past Kerbala and across the Euphrates. Other coalition forces seized a Tigris River crossing near Kut. Chris Shipp has the full story.
Another night in Baghdad, another bombing raid. There is no let-up in the air assault as coalition troops close in. They're now just 20 miles from the Iraqi capital. If there was a pause, it's definitely over. These US soldiers fighting near the holy city of Karbala. US troops now moving at a pace. Coalition commanders claim some divisions of Saddam's loyal Republican Guard are now on the brink of elimination.
We will approach Baghdad. The dagger is clearly pointed at the heart of the regime right now and will remain pointed at it until the regime is gone.
This bridge, a key crossing over the river Tigris near the town of Al-Quds, is now secure. US armour is pouring across. It's opened up another approach to Baghdad. But as the troops close in on the capital, a warning today from American commanders that coalition troops had crossed a red line which could trigger a chemical attack. In southern Iraq, more nighttime raids in Qasr. British Marines targeting Saddam's henchmen, Iraqi informers like the man hidden behind the scarf and goggles, helping to identify the secret police and military tormentors. The old regime is being rounded up. But what of the regime's president? Iraqi television today showed these pictures of Saddam smiling with members of his cabinet. Still no confirmation, though, when this meeting was filmed. The TV station also broadcast rare pictures today of Iraqi troops fighting in a town thought to be somewhere south of Baghdad. And it showed what it claimed were 2 downed coalition drones. It said the unmanned reconnaissance planes were shot down by Iraqi forces. Western cameras were taken to a hospital 60 miles south of Baghdad today. They were shown, sadly, yet predictably, more civilian casualties of the air raids. And on the northern front, heavy bombing near the city of Mosul has finally broken Iraqi defence lines. Their positions were abandoned, opening the road south for the first time. Coalition forces another step closer to Baghdad. Chris Ship, ITV News.
The Americans' morale had been lifted first thing today by the rescue of one of their own. Private Jessica Lynch, only 19 years old, was taken prisoner by the Iraqis 10 days ago. Today, special forces rescued her from a hospital in Nasiriyah, while Marines fought a diversionary battle nearby. James Mates was there.
Midnight in the town of Nasiriyah, and without warning the Euphrates is lit up by a barrage of artillery and heavy machine gun fire. Through our camera night sight, we watch US Marines launch simultaneous attacks across the river. What soon became clear, though, was that these were diversionary attacks. As this was going on, US Special Forces troops were entering the Saddam Hospital in the center of town, where they had intelligence a US prisoner of war was being held. And they were right. From the hands of her captors, they pulled Private First Class Jessica Lynch, filmed here by Special Forces, as they stretchered her away from the rescue helicopter. Both her legs and one arm were broken, but she was alive and in stable condition. At US headquarters in Qatar, they paid tribute to her rescuers.
At this point, she is safe. She's been retrieved, and some brave souls put their lives on the line to make this happen.
Jessica Lynch is just 19 years old and had been a prisoner of the Iraqis for 10 days. We had heard some days ago that a captured female US soldier had been treated at a hospital on the south side of the river here in Nasiriyah. The air was full of rumours that she was now being held at a different hospital to the north of the river, and that some sort of rescue mission would be mounted. Of course, because of the sensitivity of this, we could report none of it. But the news today that this rescue mission was successful has led to an almost visible boost in the morale of the troops here. James Mates, ITV News, Nasiriyah, Iraq.
The story of how Jessica was rescued, and this the scene at Ramstein Air Base in Germany, where the plane carrying Jessica is due to land in a few minutes from now. She'll be treated for 2 broken legs, otherwise she's in good health. There was another reminder today of the dangers of reporting this war. A freelance BBC cameraman was killed in northern Iraq when he stood on a landmine. Kaveh Golestan, a 52-year-old Iranian, was part of a 4-man team filming at Kifri. His producer was injured in the foot. In other news, British travellers were strongly advised by the Department of Health today not to go to Hong Kong or the neighbouring Chinese province of Guangdong. It's because of the deadly new lung disease, SARS. It's still spreading, and one expert told ITV News today it could be worse than HIV. Here's Lawrence McGinty.
Security guards in full protective clothing outside what was once a holiday village in Hong Kong. Now it's a camp for 240 people in quarantine. They came from this apartment building in Hong Kong, where most residents are infected with the new virus. The outbreak here has surprised health officials. It's proved more infectious than they thought. That's led to government advice here to people going to Hong Kong or neighbouring Guangdong province. The latest official figures show that in China, where the epidemic started, there are now over 1,000 cases, and in Hong Kong, 700. From there, just 9 infected air travellers spread the disease to 4 other countries in Asia, to Australia, to 8 countries in Europe, and to the US and Canada. A total of over 2,200 cases, 78 deaths. An alarming spread. Today, a leading virologist who's done pioneering research on the AIDS virus told ITV News the new disease, being called SARS, could be worse.
I think the ability of this particular agent, the SARS agent, to be transmitted easily by coughs and sneezes worries me considerably more than I felt back 18, 19 years ago when we first met and talked about HIV.
What prompts that worry is that the SARS virus is proving much more infectious than initially suspected. Lawrence McGinty, ITV News.
Here, the jury in the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire trial retire today to consider its verdict. Major Charles Ingram, his wife Diana, and college lecturer Tequin Whittet all deny trying to cheat the quiz show's makers out of the £1 million top prize by using a series of coded coughs. Football, England went top of their Euro 2004 qualifying group tonight when they beat Turkey 2-0 at the Stadium of Light. Doritos Vassell and David Beckham got the goals. The player who shone in a game marred by crowd trouble was 17-year-old Wayne Rooney. Damon Green saw the match.
England's crucial win sparked euphoria on the streets of Sunderland, though police are hoping that won't turn into more violence. With 90 arrests already made by full-time, officers were taking no chances with horses and full riot gear to protect the Turkish fans. On the pitch, the Turkish team needed protecting from this young man, Wayne Rooney, at 17, making his first senior start for England and turning the visitors' defence inside out. But it was substitute Doritos Vassell who made the breakthrough in the game England couldn't afford to lose. The captain of this man's team was inspirational tonight and should have scored long before Dyer was brought down in the box, and Beckham took his reward from the penalty spot.
So the Stadium of Light has lifted the gloom on Sven-Göran Eriksson's Euro campaign. Performance was perfect.